Good morning, everyone. It is Monday. Wowee. Last week I had not a whole lot going on. I was going to call it like a Jonathan self-improvement week, but instead I found stuff to do. It's funny how even when you don't have much scheduled or planned, you can still find your way to be very busy. And that's a problem that I have. I am quite bad at relaxing, quite bad at taking it easy. And, maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, but like last week, I wanted to make a point to get in the gym every day. Instead, we only got in it twice, which is a bit of a bummer. Because now this week's busy, and I am going to get in the gym 5 times this week. I just am. I will make time to do it. As soon as I'm done with this, a little coffee, you may say, go to the gym after that. Well, I have an Inner Circle webinar scheduled. That's going to go till about 1:30 or 2. Then I've been tasked with fixing our shower. We have a problem with the shower. That's going to take some amount of time. But hey, I know what I signed up for. That is A-OK. So anyway, this week is busy. After this week, though, on Sunday, I'm going to Las Vegas to play the remainder of the World Series of Poker. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's always fun to go out and play poker. It's funny how the idea of going to travel has changed significantly for me over the last, 3 years since I had my kids. Now, going to play poker is more of like, oh, sweet, a nice vacation, as opposed to, oh, man, I have to go grind to play poker all day, every day. And to be fair, maybe it's because, we do have other sources of income now, whereas, 10 years ago we had no other sources of income, and you sure better win at poker when you have no other sources of income. Now it's more like, oh, it's going to be great. And the question today from Louis Philippe was something along the lines of, how do you control your emotions? And I think a better question is, how do you change your emotions? Because you can't control something that is subconscious, something that is sort of running rabbit in your mind, right? And it's very important to realize that you do get to control which emotions you have to some extent. And you do that by changing your mindset. Like I just said, I used to kind of, I'm not going to say dread, but whenever I had to go out to play the World Series for 2 months, I'm like, okay, gosh, I guess I'll do it. Whereas now it's like, yes, when can I get out of here? And it's not because, being home is particularly rough or anything. I enjoy being home. I want to be home. But it's more of now I realize the great experience and opportunity that I get to have, and I'm not a young, dumb kid anymore. Now I'm probably a young, dumb, middle-aged man. But your mindset changes, and the way you frame things change, and once you understand that you don't have to react to things like everyone else does, then you're going to be broken, you're going to break free from those, those things that you feel like you must do. Let's read your chat. Good morning. Showers are overrated. No, you have to have showers, especially cold ones. Someone said to check me out. Hello, here I am. You've been following me for years, and now you're finally a member of Poker Coaching. Great. I'm glad to hear it. By the way, we're having a free webinar tomorrow. 3 cash game lessons with me. I'm going to be presenting this at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. If you are a Poker Coaching member, you will definitely be getting an email. I think we're emailing everyone. So if you're on my email list, you will get access to that. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, etc., and you'll see the link to get access to that. Completely free. I want to give you 3 cash game lessons from my new cash game masterclass that will be released later this week. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to be going through some hands and telling you a few things to make sure you don't do, because if you do those things, you will butcher yourself, especially as stacks get deeper and deeper and deeper. It's more important to control your reactions. It's more important how you control your reactions to those emotions. I'm not sure what you're saying, Daniel. But anyway, so let's get to what I have written down here. Essentially, you don't want to have to think, oh man, I know when I get bad beat, I'm going to get angry and lose my mind because I feel like I was wronged, right? Instead, you want to realize that you don't have to get unhappy when you get a bad beat, right? Or when you're driving and someone cuts you off. You don't have to get angry and want to go attack them, right? You instead can do nothing. You're allowed to not react poorly. You don't have to have any reaction. Why do you care if someone cuts you off? Why do you care if you get bad beat? Why do you care if someone plays poorly and wins all your money? Why do you care if you lose a big flip for lots of equity, right? Think about it, right? And you may say, because what it amounts to is I think a lot of people feel wronged, right? But you don't have to feel wronged. Whenever you feel wronged, ask yourself why and how is this productive for your life, right? Fish says you played poker, you signed up to play poker, you signed up for the bad beats, right? That's exactly accurate, right? And it's one of my main points here. So understand, most people model their reactions off of others. And a neat thing you'll find is that if you play the really high stakes games, the losing players don't get unhappy when they lose. Because they, for the most part, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But usually, they're like, huh, okay, got me. I mean, you see this a lot when you're watching like the high roller tournaments going on in Asia right now, where the players will just get it all in, lose 4 all-ins in a row, and they're just all laughing and joking about it. Because it is fun. It's funny. You signed up to play a game. It's supposed to be fun. You're going to just get pooed on all the time, right? It is going to happen. And so, why get angry about it? No one there is like yelling and screaming and being angry about it. It's fun. You have to learn to enjoy the experience. Why are these players in particular having these reactions? The pros included, right? I was watching my good friend the other day, Peter Jetton, who he just lost every hand at this final table. And he was like a favorite every time. He just lost every single one. And he was joking and having fun too. And I know he's playing for significant money. It's like, whatever, $300,000 US buy-ins. Tons of money. And how can good players react like this? Well, some people say, for the people who are overly casual about it, that they must have a big bankroll and they don't care. But that's not true. I know for a fact that a lot of these players have 20% of their net worth on the line. And it's okay, right? And I think you have to understand that just because other people have specific reactions does not mean that you have to have them. And also, people model their reactions after people in their environments. So if you're playing in a game where everyone's playing for their whole net worth, which is often the case at 1-2 no limit, right? You'll see guys, they'll work, they'll get their paycheck, they'll bring $400 to the casino and be playing for all the money they have. Those people get pretty annoyed and tilted and angry when they lose. And, rightfully so. They're playing well out of their bankroll. You need to make sure you're playing within your bankroll. That's kind of step number 1. Don't be a fish, right? But also, realize that just because everybody else reacts in a particular way doesn't mean that you have to react in that particular way. And also understand that you signed up for a game that has various outcomes. And realize each outcome will happen some percentage of the time. So if you know that essentially in poker anything is possible, you could have a plus 50 buy-in cash game session over 8 hours. You could have a minus 50 buy-in cash game session over 8 hours. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, that's pretty absurd. And if that's normal, why do you care? Why does that get your emotions going, right? You understand what you sign up for. To be fair, most people don't understand what they sign up for. But if you do actually understand what you sign up for, then you should have no problems when you get one of those, corner case reactions. What's happening over here on... Something's happening on XSplit. Whatever, it looks okay. So, you need to make sure you actually understand the game that you are playing. And I bet that most people do not understand the game that they are playing. They think that they're... Like, say they go play cash games, they think they're supposed to win or lose 1 buy-in. But sometimes you win or lose 10 buy-ins. You really do. They think, a bad downswing is 10 buy-ins in cash games. So like, no, it's not. It's like 100, right? That's a bad downswing, depending on win rates, of course. In tournaments, right? People think they're not supposed to bubble 6 tournaments in a row, but sometimes you do. It happens, especially if you play enough. If you play enough, everything will happen. All of these outcomes will happen eventually. So when you're experiencing them, understand this is normal, right? Let me read some of your questions real quick. We may be answering them in the near future. Let's see. Don't suppress your emotions. You can use them to your advantage. Focus on what you can control. Well, you can not have bad emotions, right? Imagine every time you lose a pot, you get angry and want to punch somebody. So every time you get angry, you punch somebody in the face, and then you get banned from every casino you play at. Is that good? You should probably suppress that emotion or get rid of it, right? It's about expectations. Yeah. A lot of people have predetermined expectations. My expectations are that something within the bounds of the possibility of the game will happen. And I know anything can happen, right? And when most people's expectations are not met, they get upset. Yeah, that's absolutely true, right? People think, I'm going to go play poker and win. Why? Right? You know you're not going to win tournaments very often. And in cash games, let's say you're good and you win like 60% of the time. 40% you're still going to lose. Why would you be unhappy? There are times when you should feel bad in life. Sure. Not in poker, because you're playing a fun game. Would this be considering changing your emotion, or would we learn to react differently in a more productive manner? I don't know. Everyone gets angry. Well, again, Dr. Mize, why do you have to get angry at anything that happens at the poker table? Why? Ask yourself why. Right? There's really no legitimate reason. You lost some money? Like, yeah, you signed up for a game. It's not fun when you have aces and you get it all against sixes and a six comes on the river. Yes, it is. That is fun, right? That's the thing. Is like you have to change your framework of what fun is. The other day, I was playing a 1-1 cash game with some friends, and I got it all with pocket aces against Queen 7 of hearts. Board was Jack 9 7 2 hearts, and turn was 10 of hearts. River was like 8 of hearts, giving me a flush, but giving him a straight flush, and I lost like $1,000, like a lot of money at a 1-1 game. Maybe $500. It was $500. And it was fun. We laughed about it. Why? Because it's funny. It's funny whenever the realm, the corner cases happen. That's enjoyable, right? Give me tips for getting better at discipline. Realize what you came to do. I think a lot of people don't realize what they're actually doing, or they don't accept what they're doing at the poker table, right? You need to realize that if your goal is to win money, that is your goal. If you have problems like just playing bad hands or just making dumb decisions on purpose, then like you're not playing to win. You're playing because you want to do something different. And I'm not here to help the people who are trying to actively lose. If you're actively trying to lose, I'm not your guy. If you want to get better and improve your game, then I am your guy. Let's see. If you get your money in good and you play the hand correctly, it happens and move on. Even if you play poorly, realize that you are going to play poorly sometimes. Every once in a while, you are going to play poorly. And so your goal is to play poorly less often. If you get angry, it's because you're playing above your bankroll or the money you can't afford to lose. I disagree with this in general. That's the case for some people. Rich, you have to understand that the problem with these emotional discussions is that there are many, many, many emotional problems people can have. Many, like infinite. And given there are like infinite things people can have problems with, it's very difficult to very specifically discuss them. But, yeah, a lot of people, when they're playing for money they can't afford to lose, they get angry. But a lot of other people just want to win, right? I know some people who play well within their bankroll, but they get pissed every time they lose, right? And why is that? Let's see. All of you are typing so much in chat, I can't keep up with it. I guess it is what it is. This is not an Ask Me Anything to everyone who's just asking me random questions. We are discussing a specific topic right now. Maybe we'll get to specific questions later. Let's see. All right, here we go. You're going to lose a percentage of the time no matter how good you are, of course. Any word on the Cash Game Masterclass? Yes, that's going to be released later this week. Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be doing Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be doing a completely free webinar where I'll be briefly discussing 3 of the tips. The Cash Game Masterclass is 29 parts long. It's pretty long. Each video is maybe, 20, 30 minutes. To be fair, we're trying to teach you everything you need to know about cash games, so it should be long. And we'll be discussing that soon. You can get on the email list at pokercoaching.com/premium, and you can go there. There's a place where you can enter your email if you're not already on my email list. We'll be sending out details pertaining to that. All right, so a few things I want to discuss. Bankroll, right? It was just mentioned. You can go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. There I have details on essentially solid bankroll management, right? jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. Okay, if you're not playing properly bankrolled, inevitably you're going to be playing too high, and when people play too high, like it was mentioned, often that is when they start to care more. That said, I've had, 2 or 3 times in my career where I've lost like 20% of my bankroll in a session. And that's usually with usually a very big tournament, a very big soft tournament. And in one of them, I bubbled. I had pocket aces against pocket fives for a 100,000 pound buy-in tournament, which was like $200,000. So a lot of cash for me. and I bubbled. And how did I react? Did I like throw a chair? No, I said nice hand and I left. You know, that's because why? I realize that's going to happen sometimes. It doesn't really matter when you lose, but it's going to happen. And you can't be so unhappy about those things because you know what you signed up for. But anyway, I think the most important thing you have to do is actually understand the game. And most people really do not understand the game that they are playing. They think poker is a game with almost no variance, whereas in reality it has lots of variance. I was listening to an interview the other day with one of the best players in the world who was basically saying that, you know, you show up in tournaments, quite often you just lose, right? You're going to lose 80% of the time, and a lot of people don't accept that. They think they're supposed to lose like half the time, and clearly if your expectations are very different from reality, that's going to cause you lots and lots of mental anguish, and you don't need that. And there is a bit of like biological conditioning to this, where if you experience something a lot, you just realize, okay, this is normal, you accept it. And there's a lot to that. I think I was kind of lucky in that back in the day when I used to play a trumpet in high school, I was the best trumpet player in my school, and I was always assigned solos. And I would have to play the solo in front of large crowds, like at a football halftime game. No one's listening, clearly, but besides your parents. But anyway, I would go out there, and I would do my best every single time. And for some reason, the band director always assigned me solos that were a little bit too hard for me, sometimes a lot too hard. And I don't know why. Maybe he was pushing the boundaries. Maybe he wanted me to fail. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I doubt he wanted me to fail. He probably wanted me to do it well, but I just couldn't. And I would go out there, and I would mess up, I don't know, 80% of the time. Playing perfectly is not messing up. Playing less than perfectly in some way is like messing up. I actually would have a blunder like 20% of the time. So 20% of the time I actually have a blunder. And teaches you that failure is okay. And I think that was actually a very good lesson for me as a young person to get up there, get in front of a lot of people, realize that nothing else is going on besides you playing your trumpet. And inevitably, you screw it up sometimes. And poker is a lot like that. You get up there, you're playing, and inevitably you're going to screw it up sometimes. And poker is a lot like the trumpet playing in that you're going to lose 80% of the time in tournaments. And it's okay, right? I'm still here. I survived. I'm perfectly fine. And it's okay. I think a lot of people just don't realize that it is okay. Fred says, what a coincidence. Your band leader always asked you to play solo that no one could hear you. Haha, okay, yeah. Sometimes when you try to approach the game more lightheartedly and not get upset, you find that you open up and play worse. Well, see, it only takes one. You have to understand that you have to learn to play seriously even when you are playing casually. And you have to learn how to be jovial and have a good time. We discussed this in, I believe, the last episode of A Little Coffee, where essentially you need to be having fun. You want to make the game fun. And if the game's not fun, well, it's probably not going to be a great game very long. And you need to be able to have fun and play seriously at the same time. Kevin says, luckily you were second chair. You never had to do the solos, LOL. I didn't mind doing it. I eventually you just kind of become, I don't know, you like the torture a little bit, where you go up there and the people who are in the know laugh at you and they make fun of you and they berate you. And it probably wasn't fun at the time, but looking back, it was definitely a very good experience. Timothy wants information on pokercoaching.com. Go to pokercoaching.com and check it out. Let's see. Is it a good idea to play large field tournaments? Sure. You have to understand that when you play a tournament, you have some return on investment. It doesn't matter how big the field is, how little the field is. You typically have a larger return on investment as the field gets bigger because you get to play longer with weaker players if you make a deep run. Yeah, you have a big score way less often. It's really bad for your bankroll management. You need a huge bankroll. Let's see. Baseball stats are like tournament stats. Kind of. Tournament poker stats are way slower, though. Everyone tries to say, well, yeah, like in baseball, a good hitting percentage is 300. Like a great hitting percentage is 300. But they get to swing the bat 4 times a game. Maybe more. You get to swing your tournament buy-in 1 time per day, right? So they get through the variance way faster. And in tournaments, you only cash like 15% of the time. So it's actually way worse. So baseball's easier because you get results occasionally. Like imagine you go up there 4 times, you're going to get 1 per day. If you go like 3 games, 12 swings and you have none, it's normal. It's unfortunate. If you go like 6 games with none, It's like, all right, better make sure you're practicing. But even that's going to happen, right? And you can't do anything about it. You know the numbers. You're going to go out there, you're going to do your absolute best, and that's it. All right, another problem people have, in addition to playing too big, is that, and not understanding the game, is that a lot of people think they deserve something, right? This we talked about this earlier with expectations. Some people assume that when they go to the casino, they're going to get to play cards and win some hands and all of that. And that's just not necessarily true. Something I read from Tommy Angelo a long time ago is he one day went to the casino, drove there for 3 hours, got there. There was a few open seats, but the games were not good. He sat there waiting for the games to get good for 4 hours. They never got good, so he packed up and went home. I don't think that's exactly the story, but it's a good story. I wish it was my story, but it's not my story. I've never done that. I have gone to Bellagio 3 times during one summer. I think it was 2 or 3 summers ago. I would go, I'd get on the 10, 20, 25, 50, and 50, 100 list, and never a good seat opened up. So I would sit there for 2 hours and then go back home, and it was only a 15-minute drive. But just because the game exists doesn't mean you have to play, right? We're playing to make money here. We're not playing to play. And I think that's another problem a lot of people have, is that they are playing to play. They don't care what game is running. They're going to go and they're going to play the game if it's anywhere within their bankroll. And that's a bit of a problem because they end up playing in bad games. And when you're playing in bad games, you open yourself up to lose a lot of money and have a lot of variance. Anyway, realize that you do not deserve anything. So any expectation you have pertaining to poker and life to some extent, you need to get that out of your head, because in reality, you don't deserve these things. And you may think, no, look at all the time and study I've put into poker. I deserve to win. And you might even say, compared to my opponents, right? Compared to the 8 people in my home game, I deserve to win because I've studied 5,000 hours and they've studied 3. And it's just not true. Get over it. Sure, maybe you should win a little more than them, but it doesn't mean you should win every time. That's for sure. And you just have to get this thought out of your head. I literally never go to the poker table thinking I deserve to win this. And I don't think I've ever had that thought in my whole life about anything. In my mind, I want to go and I want to do my best and implement my strategy, which is already predetermined, by the way, at least in my mind. Whenever you show up to the poker table, all the plays you make are already determined because of all the study or lack of study you've done ahead of time. Now, sure, you get to make some decisions, but the decisions you make are essentially already predetermined because you're going to make the exact same decision in similar spots. So anyway, the work you do ahead of time will determine how you play poker in-game, which will then determine if you study or don't study more. And that's okay. So realize that you're not owed anything from the game, and understand that. AZN 498 and 503 are the same. Thank you. Anytime any of you see any problems with poker coaching or any of my stuff, let me know. I'm always happy to edit that. If you ever see typos, let me know. I'm always happy to change them. I am not offended when I do something wrong. I want to fix the things that I do wrong. Apparently, maybe quiz number 598 or 498 and 503 are the same. Good, we'll fix it. Recreational players deserve to have fun too. We're not going to get into that topic right now, but simply put, there's an equation. Pros, people winning money, trade time for money. Okay? And recreational players trade money for an experience. And you have to make sure that the time you trade is a good experience for the recreational players. Because if they trade time for a bad experience, which is what they don't want, then they're going to stop playing. So you always want to make sure, as the pro, that you are making sure the recreational player has a good experience. Because they are trading their money for an experience. Just like when you go to see a movie, right? Imagine you're the fish when you go to see a movie. You're not making money, you're giving money, right? If you go to the movie, and the movie's bad, and you do that 12 times in a row, you're going to adjust the way you go to movies, or maybe you just stop going to movies, right? And for recreational poker players, going to play poker is similar. Not exactly the same, but similar. And if they go and play poker with you, and it sucks 4 times in a row because you're not fun and you just create a bad experience, they're going to stop playing with you. They're going to adjust the way they play poker. And eventually they're going to figure out, hey, maybe it's correlated. Whenever they play with a particular boring player, it's not fun. So your job is to make sure that you provide an experience. So you have to trade your time and giving a good experience to the weaker players in exchange for money. And if you're not doing that, you're screwing up. Let's see. Going back to this. Well, another thing you need to realize that you get to have a great experience to go play poker. Think about all the people who've ever lived. There's been a lot of them. Most of them had to work all day and not really have much of a chance to progress in life at all. All of you here are chatting to me and watching me on a smart device, a computer or a phone, almost certainly. Maybe definitively. And that's pretty lucky. You have the potential to do whatever you want in this world to some extent. I understand that there still are barriers to entry to many things, but you get to kind of do whatever you want. And if you get to go play poker for fun, or for a job or whatever, realize you have a fantastic opportunity. And if you have a fantastic opportunity, why are you getting angry about it? Why are you being unhappy, right? And you have to get over that. You have to realize that you are going to have a good time. You are playing a game. Games are supposed to be enjoyable. And if you do have the mindset of someone who gets angry about stuff, ask yourself, why are you getting angry? I can promise you, I used to be angry. It's way more fun to not be angry than it is to be angry, right? Let's see what all you're saying real quick before we move forward. How do we make our coffee? We use an AeroPress device. Nice little cheap fun device that works well for me. Let's see. Is it okay to take shots at bigger games? Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. Is this called entitlement? Yeah, we're discussing entitlement essentially. Everyone deserves something. They think they deserve something. You deserve to go and get some cards dealt to you. They don't have to be good cards, that's for sure. You used to tilt whenever you took bad beats, but my coaching has helped you. Good. You just say nice hand and move on. Yeah. And you appreciate they're your source. That's right. How do you maintain emotions without tilting against good players? Do you just quit the game, etc., etc.? I mean, understand that if you're playing a game and the game is not profitable and you are actually playing for money, you realize I'm playing to make money here. I'm not playing to get an experience. Then if the game's not good and you're not making money, get up and leave. But if you're playing in a game that is profitable for you, you're going to lose sometimes. Like, again, people ask, like, how do you not tilt? Realize you don't have to tilt. Just because everybody else tilts in your game does not mean that you have to tilt. You're going to make so much more money by not tilting than tilting, and realize that you get to choose how you react. And you get to choose how you feel, right? Another good example is, say you're playing poker and the cocktail waitress walks behind you and dumps a tray of white wine all over you. The other day at a charity tournament, a guy walked right by me. I was the MC of the tournament. He bumped into me, spilled his white wine all over my sleeve. Luckily, it was white wine, not red wine. But I smelled of white wine for the rest of the evening. Not good white wine either. It's a tongue twister. And how do you react? You could do a few things. You could do nothing, which is what I did. I laugh about it. I essentially laughed about it. I say, go have fun, you know. You could punch the guy in the face. You could yell and scream at him. You can make a scene out of it. You can do all sorts of things, right? But you get to choose how you react. And why do I not care that I now have to go walk around the room for the rest of the evening being the MC of the tournament smelling of white wine? Because it just doesn't matter, right? Most things don't matter. Essentially, everything that happens at the poker table does not matter. And I think you'll find eventually that most things don't matter enough to make yourself unhappy. You get to choose how you react to all these things. How did I cope with anger? Again, I guess, I don't even know, man. I got over it eventually. I realized you don't have to be angry. You don't have to be angry. Once you stop tilting, you also realize that it's literally impossible to tilt if you have a sound understanding of the game. I actually generally agree with this. As I've gotten better and better and developed a stronger and stronger framework for my decisions at and away from the table, you realize all you're doing is implementing your strategy. If you're implementing your strategy and you know that things are going to happen, then why are you unhappy when bad things happen? I think something that does happen to a lot of people is they don't actually understand how to play poker very well. Instead, they're just sort of making decisions essentially randomly. And that's a big problem for them, right? They need to make sure that they fundamentally understand the game, which is why I have pokercoaching.com to teach you how to play at least reasonably well, and at least how to have a framework for playing pretty well. It's not going to be like perfect GTO poker, but it's going to be pretty well. It's going to be better than the vast majority of people you run into. And if you know how to do that, and you show up and you do that, you're going to be fine, right? The problem is a lot of people just have no clue what they are doing. And when you just really don't even know what you're doing and you realize, hey, I'm probably just giving my money away, that's a big problem for a lot of people. And it should be, to be fair. Look, you don't want to be just giving your money away. And I don't want you to give your money away. I want you to get in there and study and get better. And knowing what you are doing will make you generally happier, I think. Because when you have some sense of mastery and understanding of what you're doing, it'll make your life better. What's the hardest part for you is how you feel when you get a bad run out. Well, understand, you have to get over the things you cannot control, and you cannot control the cards that come, right? You need to worry about the things that you can control, which are your study, right? Also, when you play, your bankroll management, your general mindset, your preparation, right? And you don't get to control a lot of things. You don't get to control stuff like who you're seated with in the tournament. You don't get to control the way the cards run out. You don't get to control if you win or lose to some extent, right? So anyway, what's a good way to train a stoic, to have a stoic look at the table? I don't know, sit there and look stoically. Do whatever you want to do, right? Negroni says when you're tilting, stop and think about why you're tilting and figure it out once. Well, I'm not reading this right. When you're tilting, once you type this, I'm not going to read this. I'm not great at reading, and I'm certainly not going to read something that's not written well. Sorry, Brian. I want to make it clear. You can tilt in various ways. Some people think they tilt. Tilt is like when you just go off the deep end and lose all your money. If you do anything differently than you would normally do if you were playing well, and to some extent that's tilting. Maybe that's a perfectionist viewpoint of mine relating to tilting. But like say you tighten up, right? Say you lose 4 hands in a row and you just stop putting chips in the pot. That is tilt. Say you start bluffing a little bit too much for no real reason. That is tilt. The problem though is that sometimes it is right to be tight, right? Other times it is not right to be tight. Sometimes you're supposed to be bluffing a little bit more than normal. Sometimes you're not. And you have to make sure that you are thinking using a very clear mindset pertaining to these things. How do you develop discipline? Yeah. I think what I realize is that there is a right decision in essentially most spots. And if you don't make that play, you are handing your money away. Some of you keep asking random questions. This is not an Ask Me Anything. We do that later or on a different day. This is a discussion about how to change your emotions. And realize that if you do good work, good things will come to you in life. They may come quickly, they may come slowly. But if you do good work, and you show up and do a lot of good work, good things will come. And if you don't do that, well, you're not going to have anything, and you should not expect anything good to happen for you in life at all. And that's basically it. Do good work and do a lot of it, and good things will happen. I've had so many opportunities fall into my lap because people know that I will do good work, and I will do what I say I'm going to do. And that is very, very valuable, right? And you need to get that reputation in your industry to be the person who gets good things done. Let's see. You get genuinely angry when you make a bad play. Is this a healthy form of tilt? Well, you can get angry at yourself, but realize that you still have to play good poker. Everyone wanting information on Poker Coaching Premium, we will be releasing that over the next few days. Be patient. Patience is important. Poker players get upset at other players for their bad play. They need to learn from that hand and reevaluate their own play. Well, look, Daniel, your opponent can play perfectly wrong and essentially cost you a tournament or cost you a buy-in or whatever. But that's okay, because they're going to cost other people buy-ins in those same scenarios, and you're going to be on the receiving end of some of those errors. Dino says you were on major tilt after some hand. You get it all in and you lose. I mean, look, you're going to happen. That's going to happen sometimes. Get over it, right? You're going to lose poker hands. You know you are, because that's the game you signed up for. How do you feel about table games? Depends on the scenario. They're sometimes a very good way to get very good comps, which will save you money if the place you're staying and have to stay at does not give good room rates. Otherwise, stay away. So let's talk about self-talk a little bit. Whenever you are sitting there and you have any sort of conscience whatsoever, then you're going to say things in your head to yourself. And you want to ask yourself, essentially, what is my subconscious telling myself? And for some of you, whenever, like, let's say you get it all in and your opponent played poorly and you lose, you think, oh my God, that guy just screwed me out of money. But that thought should not be going through your head. And if it does go through your head, realize, have your actual conscious person say to yourself, why are you thinking this? Don't be a fish. You don't need that. I mean, I know I'm often telling myself, relax, sir, relax. Especially whenever I feel like I'm getting a little bit hyper. I mean, hyper is probably not the right word, but like a little bit antsy. Relax, sir, relax. Usually this is the case when you have like 25-ish big blinds in a tournament. You're like, all right, it's becoming go time, right? You don't want me to scroll up and look at a hand. I already did that. It doesn't even matter. The hand is irrelevant. Sometimes you're going to lose, right? Anyway, you need to figure out what you're saying to yourself and realize that often what you're saying to yourself is not your true thoughts. It's not your conscious thoughts, right? And you can tone them down. And again, let's take the example of the cocktail waitress pours a bottle of wine over the top of you. Some people immediately say, oh my God, what happened to me? How could this possibly be happening? I'm so embarrassed. Other people say, haha, it's going to happen. And if you find that you're having negative self-talk going on to yourself, you need to change that because you need to be telling yourself good, happy, positive things. And, to be fair, positive could be, hey, you're in a bad game. You need to go work on your poker and get out of here. But it should never be things that are irrelevant. Like, oh my God, I lost a hand. I can't believe this happened because nobody ever loses in the spot, etc., right? Like the other day when I had the nut flush and I lost to the straight flush. It's like funny, right? My thought was not, how could this happen to me for 500 big blinds? It's instead, look at this fun thing that just happened in the game. Let's see. Ace, Michael Acevedo, welcome. No one needs to play perfectly. You make money, just play better than the opponents in your games. And that is absolutely true. Let's see. You love poker very much. It's important to start with cash games. What do we think? You can play either game. Understand that different games are better for different life situations, right? How do you deal with fatigue? Learn to have better stamina. Get in good shape. Eat properly. Get up, walk around, move, etc., etc. MA says 3-3 wins in the head of the full house. So essentially, someone was asking, how do you read the board? Yeah, if you're reading, the way you read the board on a full house is you look at the bigger trips, which trips is bigger. If they're the same, you look at the pair. That's all that matters. This is not a webinar, or this is not a discussion on how to read the board. There are many articles on that on the internet. The other day, funny enough, whenever I had the ace high flush and lost to the straight flush, I had to tell the people that I lost. They were trying to give me the pot because I had the ace high flush. I'm like, oh, ace high flush, you got him. I'm like, no, I lose. And that's okay, right? It was a home game. It was like friendly people were dealing. And it's important to understand how to read the board, and if you don't understand how to read the board, then that's a problem. First time I played Omaha 8 or better ever in my life. First time I played live. I played online a lot. I was playing with Barry Greenstein, and I had like some bad high, like ace high or something. And maybe I had a bad low. I had like the worst low or something, but the worst low was good for half the pot. Dealer took my cards, scooped them up, threw them into the muck, and I'm like, whoa. I had the 8-7 low. And fortunately, Barry Greenstein was there, and he's like, yeah, he had the 8-7 low. So obviously, you should never expect the dealer or anyone else to be watching out for you. You need to make sure that you understand the game. And if you understand the game and how to read the board, then you'll have no problems, and you get good at that by practice. And now, whenever you table your hand, don't table it in the middle of the table where the dealer can scoop it up and throw it in the muck. Table it in front of you, directly in front of you. That way, if they try to take it, they can't. Do it in meditation or breathing exercises. I'm always telling myself to relax myself. I don't know if that's necessarily meditation or breathing exercises. But I like the stuff by Elliot Rowe. Elliott Rowe has a lot of great work. Let's say you get angry at another player. Why are you getting angry at another player? Don't get angry at another player. They're just there trying to have fun, just like you are. What can you do when you're on tilt? Get up, walk around, quit, ask yourself why you're tilting. For the most part, pretty much essentially always, if you ask yourself, why am I on tilt? Why do I feel this way? Which is very difficult to do, by the way, if you are tilting. You will realize, why am I on tilt? Because I lost a hand? Like, get over it, right? Why am I on tilt? Because the dealer messed up, right? Like, say you actually do table the winning hand. Somehow the dealer screws it up, and you don't win the pot. You get effectively cheated out of the pot. Let's say you don't get cheated. Even if you do get cheated, realize if you're playing with people who are cheating you, then clearly that's on you. You should not be playing in that game. Don't be angry at them. Be angry at you for putting yourself in that scenario. And if it's your first time in a bad scenario, realize that, all right, I played, I learned, and I'm not going to play there again. You get to choose. So you have to get it out of your mind that it's other people's fault when things go poorly for you. Essentially, everything you do, you get to determine if you are in that scenario, right? If you are playing too high, or if it doesn't even matter, right? If you put yourself in a scenario, you put yourself there. You're the one who gets to decide to go to the table and play. And that means that essentially everything that happens there is on you. And that's it. It's early in Vegas. No, it is early in Vegas. I'm in New York City right now. I returned to Vegas on the 30th to play the $5,000 on the first, and then the main event, and then a bunch of other stuff after it. How do you approach a tournament with only one buy-in? Play normally. Maybe you should be concerned with getting in the money a little bit more, but just play normally. You should probably be a little bit more concerned with getting in the money if you have one buy-in in your bankroll. Clearly, if you have one buy-in in your bankroll, you screwed up. Some people say, oh, I won my seat in a satellite. Yeah, don't play satellites if you're going to win your way into a tournament where you have one buy-in. Because that means presumably you have only, 10, 20 buy-ins, etc., etc. Someone trying to cheat should be punished. Sure, but you don't have to play with them. And understand, you don't have to play with them. Say you're playing on a site where they are known to have a lot of bots, or they're known to have people who have cheating rings. You don't have to play there. Don't think that just because that's the only site that exists for you, that you have to play there. It's not true. You absolutely do not have to play. But yes, obviously people who are breaking the rules should be punished, but it's not up to you to punish them. It's up to the regulating bodies. So certainly you can tell the regulating officials, and if the regulating officials do nothing, then don't play there. I know in some smaller poker rooms around in rural areas that tournament directors are like super shady to help out the locals who presumably tip them, or maybe they like them, I don't know. And if that's how it happens in those areas, don't play in those areas. You don't have to. Right? Tell the gaming board. If the gaming board does an investigation, help them in every way they can. But after that, you can't do anything. Can't do anything. All right, so that's going to be it for today. I have to go do a webinar for the Inner Circle members. And remember, we're doing a webinar tomorrow night at, what time did I say? 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be discussing 3 cash game lessons that you need to make sure you understand if you want to have any success or any chance of success at cash games. And looking forward to that. Oh, hi. You want to say hello?
Yeah. I got a cracker.
Oh, you got a cracker?
Yeah.
Here, show it to everybody.
I got a cracker.
Can you say hello to everyone?
Hi.
Look how big you are. You used to be so little. Now you're so tall. This is James. This weekend we went to Sesame Place. We went to the water park. You want to show everybody your belly, how you got hurt? Look at his belly right here. Oh, no. James got all wet at a park, and then he decided to go down a slide on his belly like it was a slip and slide. The problem is their kids had poured water down the slide, so it was really slick. And he went right off of it. And instead of slowing down at the bottom, he got faster and faster and went off of it like a rocket and landed on his belly. And then he got up and was like, oh, my belly hurts. I'm like, yeah, you hurt your belly. And then he gave me a hug. Did you like Sesame Place?
Yeah.
Did you give Elmo a hug?
Yeah.
What else did you do? What else did you do? Tell them.
Hi.
You're enamored by the cameras. All right. That's going to be it for today, I think. Like I said, I have to go get ready for the webinar for the Inner Circle members.
No, I want to begin.
You're not done talking? Well, you better tell them something. What else did we do? We went to the park. Did you hear the bells?
Yeah.
They have some bells at the Central Park Zoo. James loves them. And he loves the bells. He always says, oh, hear bells, hear bells. Yeah, we hear the bells. James is getting good in putting sentences together. He told Amy on her way out the door, okay, you will come home at 6 o'clock. She said, yes. Yeah, she'll come up. Mommy comes home at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, realize you get to control how you react. And at the end of the day, if you are playing poker to make money, if you're playing for your family, for your livelihood, it is up to you to make sure you play to the best of your ability. And the idea of, I can't change, this is how I think, it's not true. You can change the way you think. I used to be an unhappy, sad, probably bitter person. I don't know why. But we changed. And you can change too. And you change by understanding your scenario and understanding what you sign up for, and really understanding how incredibly fortunate you are to have the opportunities that you have, because everyone watching here today has loads of opportunities, and you just have to make sure you do not squander them. That's me for today. Can you say bye-bye?
Bye, Dad.
Can you say thank you for watching?
Get all wet.
Oh, they're going to get all wet at the park?
Yeah.
Yes, go get all wet at the park. James and I got all wet together at the park. It was so nice. The water was freezing. Can you say good luck?
I want to freeze.
Yeah.
We go swimming.
You're going to go swimming?
We went swimming, Daddy.
You went swimming with Daddy, that's right.
We got all wet.
Yeah, what else did we do?
We got all wet. We got all wet.
Did you like it?
Yeah. We got all wet.
We did. We absolutely got. Are you waiting for them to say it back to you? Yes, we got all wet.
Fishy.
Yeah, it was freezing. That's right. Say good luck. Have fun. Tell everyone good luck. They're playing at the World Series. I can't turn off the stream when you're doing that. Good luck, everyone. Bye.